Hello, and welcome back to Mama Says. If this is your first time listening to Mama Says, thank you for being here. This week, I talked to my sister, Heather Gurley, and her son, Cooper. I don't really talk that much to Cooper because he wasn't feeling it, but that's one of the best things about my sister. She didn't force him to talk. We have a great conversation. She talks about being herself apart from being a mom. She never really thought about being a mom, so she thinks it's really important that you remember to be your own person. We talk about discipline and love and how we grew up and how that affects her as a mother. It's a great conversation, and my sister is so cool. Oh, we also talk about hunting. A lot of things I didn't know. Like there's a limit on the amount of deers you can shoot. We have a great conversation, and I know you're going to love my sister. So get cozy and enjoy this episode of Mama Says.
Okay.
Heather!
Hey.
Hi, beautiful sister.
Hey. I'm gonna try to set my computer up.
I love
I
your
was gonna
shirt.
wear sunglasses, but opted against it. Okay.
Is that your shirt, the shirt that you bought for someone else, but you were like, fuck it, they don't want it, I'll take it?
Yes. Because in my defense, I did give it to him for Christmas, and he left the bag at my house, and I gave him 2 days to pick it up. And I was like, Waylon, you don't pick the shirt up, I'm keeping it. And he never came back. So
Well, it looks good on you, dog, so
yeah.
good move.
I wore it like I've already got the money's worth. It was a $10 shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Walmart. You get
This is-
camo cheap down here because everybody wears it.
That's true. I feel like this is the first time that I'm like into camo. I don't know. Something about that shirt is just awesome.
I think it's the slickness of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not thermal. I wish it was.
It's like form fitting. I think it's cute.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, they make cute camo clothes for people down here. There's a store in Allgood, and Allgood is tinier than our town, but there's a store there. Yeah, it's insane that it's nothing but hunting supplies, but they have a whole section just for women.
What? They don't make it like all pink camo though, do they?
A bunch of it is, until finally girls started griping about it. Like, just because we're girls doesn't mean we want a bunch of fucking pink.
Yeah.
So they're starting to incorporate like orange and lime green and stuff in there with it,
Ooh.
which is way, way better
Okay.
because I hate pink camo.
Yeah, you don't like pink.
Yeah, I don't understand why they think all girls just want to wear it.
And that's not what are you camouflaging with pink? Nothing in nature is pink.
No, because that's the point. Like, apparently we're just wearing it, which I don't hunt anymore now anyways, but apparently we're just wearing it to look like we hunt,
Oh Lord.
which is pointless because any hunter knows as soon as I show up in that pink camo, they know I'm not hunting in that.
Wait, you don't hunt anymore?
No, not in a long time. I mean, I know how, and I can illegally hunt. I've done that a couple times.
So you don't have your license?
No, you have to buy like. I'm sorry, I took some nasal spray before I came on here because my nose was running.
Oh, that's okay.
You have to buy an individual license every year for what you hunt. So, like at deer season, you have to buy a license just to hunt deer, and there's a cap on it. So, like normally it's 3 or 4 deer, depending on what the population's like. But you can only have 2 does, and the other 2 have to be bucks. Like you can't kill 4 does because does have babies, and that's how we keep the population going. And then obviously, it's illegal to shoot a deer outside of season. Like you can't shoot a deer right now. Like deer season isn't right now because they have their babies right now. So it's illegal to shoot them because you have to let their babies get big enough to fend for themselves.
This is great to know because I feel like, well, I didn't know this because I don't live in an area where hunting is popular, or do I hunt? But I feel like people don't know that there's like rules and regulations, but it makes sense because deers would be extinct if there weren't.
Yeah, well, some places, like I watched a video yesterday, and if deer get too large, they'll get in herds. And it's very rare. It doesn't really happen around here just because where we are,
Right.
hunters, there's a lot of us. But like you go, the one I watched a video yesterday, and it was up north. And up north, the hunting is way, way different. Not as many people do it up there. But if deer get too much, you'll have a herd. And I'd say in this herd, there was probably 500 something deer running. And because they were trying to disperse the herd. So they had dogs running it, and there were people standing like periodically while the deer were running, making them split, like scaring them to where they split up. When I say, I mean, I'm talking, I'll have to show you the video because I've never seen that big of a herd before.
Wow.
And I mean, there were bucks in there that people down here would pay to shoot. And they were freaking, it was insane how many deer were in this thing. But that's because nobody up there hunts.
I have been around like parks in here, and deer just come up to you. I'm like, do you not know that I'm from the South? And they're like, you don't hunt, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Because they get to where like they know. Well, like you can go to the mountains in Gatlinburg, and when you stay in a park somewhere, you can tell that the animals there, like they know you can't fuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the funny, everybody around here makes jokes, but like during deer season, you can ride around and you'll see turkey freaking everywhere because you can't shoot them during deer season. And it's like a running joke that they know that.
They probably do though, you know?
Yeah, because I mean, it's a lot of scientists like to say that they would like to prove that animals are smart enough to get like what time of the year that they're getting hunted and what time they're not. And I kind of believe that because it'll be turkey season and you'll see deer all over the freaking place.
Yeah. Evolution of trying to survive.
Yeah, but sometimes when the population gets too bad, they'll open up season.
Oh no.
Yeah, they've done it. I've seen them do it once since I've been alive, as far as I can remember. And it was when I was in high school. And the deer population here got so bad that they opened up like 2 weeks of free season to where you could just go shoot whatever deer you wanted. Because people don't think about it, but if you can't have that many deer, I mean, it makes me think of like I Am Legend, like whenever he's walking out there by himself and these deer come tracing through, like that's what it makes me think. I'm like, you can't have that. There's a reason, there's a hierarchy because you have to kill them out or they're gonna kill everything in the forest.
I was about to say you were talking about a herd of deer. I was like, that sounds kind of terrifying, honestly. Like big bulky deer.
Yeah, these things were huge.
Yeah.
Like massive. They were taller than the people standing there.
And
but around here they'll eat your crops.
Oh.
So like, yeah, that's a big reason population control is so. That's why they keep it under wraps because deer eat everything that people here grow.
Okay, that makes.
And they'll come in your field and eat up your entire thing if you don't watch it.
And it's just a bonus that deer taste really amazing.
Yes.
So
baby deer taste the best, but people really don't like killing those.
Heather Cheryl.
I'm just saying. Venison is baby deer and it is the best, but you're not allowed to kill those.
That's terrible. You're not allowed to kill babies?
No.
Well, then how do you know venison tastes good?
You can ask my daddy that. I don't know. He's the one who always cooks it for me, so I just don't ask.
You're like, I'm not implicated in this. I have no idea.
Yeah, it just shows up. I don't know. It's but I mean, me and my friend Jessica, we hit a deer in a car one time, went home, got her truck, went back and got the deer, skinned it that night, and her mom cooked breakfast for all of us the next morning, like with this deer. And it was almost a baby. It wasn't that big. We just accidentally hit it.
That is the best thing I've ever heard.
You got to use your resources.
Okay, so this right here is exactly like bringing me to my next point. You are a human that can do so many amazing things that I'm always like, wow, how? Like where, like you can pull babies out of animals. Like you're like a vet you're just amazing.
Without a license.
Yeah, it's just like anytime there's like all through our life, anytime there's trauma or something going on with like an animal or even a human at times, you are the person who is calm in a crisis, which I feel like it is like a great quality to have as a mom too.
Yeah. I will say you don't stay as calm with the mother. Like I would rather have it to where like a cow is breech and I have to deliver that cow than suffer through one of Cooper's two like temper tantrums. Because there's nothing you can do. I mean, it's literally you're just sitting there listening to this little person scream at you, and you can't beat him up. Like carrying on the street yelled at me the way my 2-year-old yells at me, I'd beat that ass, and I can't do that to my kid.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly frustrating.
So it's hard to like find that. Where does that calm come from? And like, so, and it's hard to find that calm with your own kid.
Sometimes it's, now I'm all about survival mode. So I have a bunch of different bunch of mom friends, and everybody parents differently. I'm not a caterer. I'm not like, so when Cooper starts screaming in public, like slams down on the ground and stuff, I ignore it. Because all he's wanting is, he's trying to get you to respond to it. Now I'll let you sit there and scream in front of God and everybody for an hour if that's what you want to do. I'm not dealing with that. And that's so my mode is survival modes. Now I get to where, and I know a bunch of moms who've done this, you get to where you, like, if you look at your kid any longer, you're gonna just lose it. And I know most moms know what I'm talking about. You just reach a point where you're like, I love you, but I can't look at your face anymore today because you're pissing me off. I mean, there's really no better word for it. And I go in the bathroom and lock myself in there, and I've went in the bathroom and cried multiple times. Not even the bathroom. You just pick where you can hide. Like I come outside and sit here and lock him inside for just 10 minutes. That's all you need.
Before you had a kid, did you hear moms talking about that? Because I feel like moms aren't honest about that, at least where I've seen. They don't talk about that a lot.
They are not honest about it. So I try to be like, you want to talk about having a kid? Oh, that's great. Let me tell you how it sucks. Because when I was pregnant, I didn't, it was a big surprise. I was not trying to get pregnant. And everybody's all, oh, it's so great. You'll never know love like this. It'll be the best thing you ever had. It's just something like no other. They're not wrong, but I swear it was like a week after I had Cooper and he was nonstop crying and I wasn't sleeping or anything like this. And they're like, yeah, see, we knew that was coming. We knew it. It's really hard. And then they start telling you all these horror stories. And it's like, it's like the mom group is like a cult, and they're just trying to get you in there by telling you all these nice stories. And then when they suck you in and you've got this kid, then they're like, just kidding. It's really fucking hard. And it kind of sucks. Not all the time, but it really just sucks sometimes. And nobody tells you that until after you give birth and you've already got the kid. Like the whole time I was pregnant, that's all anybody would talk about is how great it is. And it's like, as soon as Cooper got here, everybody started, it was like, oh yeah, my kid did that. I'm like, y'all didn't tell me this story when I was like, I don't know, 7 months ago.
Right.
Not that I would have done anything, but I would have been more prepared. I was expecting like freaking like having a Lassie movie in my house. And that's not what it is at all. That's not what happens. I spend every day fighting with a 3-year-old. And I lose 99% of the time. I hardly win.
Yeah. And that's, oh my gosh, you have to, what do you mean by lose? Let me ask that.
So, okay, like potty training will be the death of me. Nobody tells you how hard this is going to be. Everybody has their own version, but I've come to realize not all kids are the same. Your version won't work for my kid. So Cooper we're working on it. So I've been using the tablet as like and I hope moms don't come at me. Yes, I'm a tablet mother. Like sometimes I just want you to leave me alone. I hand you a tablet. Now I was not like that when I had him. I was going to be no electronics, no nothing. Moms that say that are full of crap. They're sliding tablets like drugs when they're at home. They are not like, so Cooper's addicted to his. So I try to take it away for potty training. I take it away. It's screaming nonstop. And then finally you're just like, screw it. Go in your diaper, have the tablet back. I don't care. I'm over it. Like you can't listen to it anymore. And I lose just because not every day, but some days I just can't I can't listen to it. And he has a lot more stamina than I do as far as screaming goes. And he knows it too. So,
which is interesting when you talking about our family. We're like really good at screaming. So I'm like,
yeah, that's another. So, no, I could win. So, but my philosophy is that's one thing. Like, I love my parents, but there are a lot of things that I desperately try to do different. And screaming is one of them. I try, because that's what I remember growing up. And I'm like, and I try not to, I ain't saying I don't do it, because I do it. But 9 times out of 10, I try to get it to where I'm not screaming at you, because it gives the message to him, like, okay, you want me to do something, I'm going to scream at you.
yeah.
And it's just like a cycle, and I'm trying to break that. So
What are the ways that you found help you not break out in screams?
well, walking away is one, when I get to like a point I can't take it no more. And then I think now I'll get down on his level and talk to him. Like, I'll scrouch down. Now, I don't do baby talk. I've never done baby talk. I've talked to Cooper like he's a grown man since he was a baby. And so I'll get down on his level, and like, I'm big on, I can't help you if you don't tell me what's wrong. You have to tell me what's wrong. It's just a lot of repeating. But Cooper also has my temper, which you're very well aware is not a good temper. And it's really hard, because I'm basically dealing with myself from like 10 years ago, and it's really hard. So I just basically try to talk to him, which here lately has mainly been waiting for him to just calm down enough to talk to me. Because most of the time, as soon as I say a word, he just gets louder. Like, he's just trying to beat me and screaming.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny to me that some kids are like that, because my friend Dani, one of her kids, like, she didn't do that. She was like very docile, and like, if her parents say to do it, she just did it. Now, she's not now. She's a preteen now, and she's
Oh boy.
not like that anymore. But as a toddler, she was just, okay, mommy, okay, daddy. And then I got my kid that does not say that at all. He doesn't listen to anything.
I feel like right now that's got to be super freaking hard. But if he turns out like you, where you don't take any bullshit and you just are like a survivor, I think that's a good quality to have.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I completely, that is also a big part of my not coddling as much, because life is hard. And if you get coddled your whole life, you're going to expect somebody to do it when you turn an adult. And I'm not signing up to do that until he's 50. Can't do it. So he needs to learn right now. Like, we went to the playground yesterday, and they had this merry-go-round. Well, Coop puked and then fell off.
Oh no.
Like, it's not funny. It was funny, but it's not funny. But so all these kids are freaking out because he just puked on there. So all the kids are losing. I'm like, yep, way to make friends, Coop. First time I let you hang out with a bunch of people. But then when he fell on the ground, of course, there's all these other parents here. All these parents are like rushing over there, and I'm just meandering like I ain't got nowhere to be. And they're all, are you okay? Are you okay? And they're all hovering over him. And he just stood up. He was crying, but I kissed him on the head one time. That was it. He quit crying immediately and just got right back on.
That's awesome.
And that's what I want. I don't want you to sit here and cry for 20 minutes, because one, you're going to miss out on getting to play.
Yeah.
And then two, when you're 15, ain't nobody listening to that crap. So that's not a habit I want him having right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we're not Shawshank up in here. I mean, he gets like coddled when he's hurt and doesn't feel good and stuff. But in general, no, I keep it pretty. You got to be really, really hurt to get a lot of sympathy.
Yeah.
But that's how it is in the real world.
Do you feel like you experienced that kind of raising as a child too, yourself?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, my dad was very, but my dad, and it's he's very much on the don't cry. Like he used to cup his hands together like this and be like, cry me a handful every time you would cry about anything. It didn't matter what it was. Like I almost broke my toe one time walking and he told me to suck it up. Like you don't cry.
Wow.
Now I do agree with that now because now like stuff doesn't bother me as much. The only difference is emotional wise,
Mhm.
I'd like to be better on that aspect. Like my dad was great. I can take care of myself and that's awesome because not a lot of women are great about doing that these days that I've noticed. But emotional wise, I have the emotional capacity of about maybe a 5-year-old. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a lot. And that's because my dad didn't talk about that stuff. And like, I think that's the difference in the parenting me and you got growing up. Cause mama is like all about, she doesn't get off the phone without saying I love you or anything like that. And like my dad didn't really tell me he loved me until I was probably about 25.
Wow.
You're just supposed to know it just because my family isn't like that. So I'd say that's a big, so now I make sure to tell Cooper I love him at least once every
Mhm.
single day,
Mm,
just because of that, because it's nice to hear and parent or kids shouldn't have to wonder if your parents love you or not.
definitely. And it makes a big difference. Like I remember mama saying that that was one thing about Granny that she learned where it was like she never heard I love you. So she was like, I'm gonna make sure that my kids know that I love
Yeah.
them, you know?
And that's one thing that I always appreciated from mama.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah, it
you
was never a question from her.
right, exactly. I do want to mention though, like my, you know, with the crying thing, it's interesting because there's like this, like mama didn't like crying either, you know, like not so much from, and I'm talking from my experience, not so much from me, but like other kids or something, she'd be like, all right, move on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, there's I get that, but there's also like this balance you have to figure out because I think, you know, mama had to move on through a lot of shit in her life
Yeah.
and she didn't have a lot of time for crying either. And so there's still a little like hesitancy to sit in emotions. You know, emotions are
Yeah.
like, I think that's for a lot of people though. People are like when I went to therapy and she was like, it's okay to feel anger. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Like who told you that?
Yeah,
Because that's not what I was told.
exactly. Yeah,
You suppress that shit till you're like homicidal. That's what I was taught.
exactly.
So
Yeah. But she was saying, like, my therapist was saying, you know, like, it's okay to feel the emotion. It's how you like react to the emotion. And I'm like, oh, okay, that
yeah,
makes sense.
that's how healthy people do
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So you mentioned that, you know, Cooper was a surprise. Did you always somewhere within yourself want to be a mom? Because I remember talking about it at a young age, but
uh, not really. It was never. I was never one of these girls that was growing up like, oh, I'm gonna get married and we're gonna do this at our wedding, and then I'm gonna have lots of babies, and it's just gonna be awesome. That was never me.
mm.
Like I was dead set. I was never gonna get married. Case in point, I shouldn't have. See how that turned out, and so no. And then like when I was while I was married, they told me I couldn't have any, and honestly, it kind of sucked, but not that bad. I was just okay with it. I'm like, all right then, well, we'll just have a bunch of pets and this is how it'll go. I said, I got enough brothers and sisters. I can get a niece or nephew somewhere. I was like, so it didn't
Yeah.
really, I wasn't really that upset about it, but I was never like keen on taking care of somebody else either.
Mm.
So no, that is not something I aspired to ever really. And I'm not a big fan of other people's kids either. I love kids. I'm not gonna go up and like hit your kid for no reason, but I'm not oh, it's a baby, let me hold it. I'm like, okay, that's a baby, but you can keep it over. I don't want it. He's cute. Like I don't really think it's a common misconception that moms are just all about the kids 24/7, and that's not the like I like my kid.
Mm-hmm.
And and like, I like my friends' kids, but just random children, no, I just don't really care. And I've never cared. Like, I've never looked at, like, all my friends had kids when we were in like our early 20s, and I was never like, oh, I want that.
Hmm.
I think the only time I ever wanted that was my friend's daughter came up to her one day while we were swimming. She was like, I love you. She said, I love you, mommy. I love you so much. Thank you for carrying us swimming. And then just walked off. And that's probably the only moment I really remember where I'm like, oh, that would be nice. You know, to just have a kid come up and say, I love you, mommy. I said, I bet that's a really nice feeling. But that's about as far as that ever went. Like, it definitely was not, I was not going to try to have one. I'm just like, oh, that'd be nice. But also be nice to have a boat, and I ain't buying one of those either. So it was never something I was just like dying to have. And you can't miss what you don't have. So,
Yeah. So when you found out you were pregnant, how did you feel?
uh, I was freaking out, freaking out. Almost drank a beer, but then Danny stopped me. So I was freaking out because Danny is my friend Danny. She's the first one to know because she was the only one at home. And Kevin was asleep at home, and I was like, well, I can't go home because in my mind, I was like, he's going to hear me pee on the stick. He's going to know I can't go home. So I went to Danny's house, and I think I bought a thing of Sunny D and 8 pregnancy tests, and I took every single one of them. And I kept telling Dan, yeah, it was not good. I was losing it. And then I told Danny, I was like, well, I hear about false readings all the time. And she was like, they make false negatives, Heather, not false positives. And she was like, you've taken 8 tests. I'm pretty sure it's not a false reading. And I'm like, well, you don't know. Went and got 2 more tests, took another. Yeah, it was not good. So by the time, and then I talked to Aunt Lisa, and she goes, well, maybe you should save one to take in front of Kevin. That way he knows you're not lying. And I'm like, okay. So I went and got some more. And then, so by the time I tell Kevin that night, he was on 3rd shift. I went to wake him up, and I had 10 pregnancy tests. All of them were positive. And I was like, if you don't believe me, I'll go take this one. He was like, I think that's enough. I'm pretty sure that's right. You're pregnant.
Oh.
And he just got up and went to work. Never said another thing about it. He's like, okay. And then just left. And I proceeded to just lose my crap for the rest of the week. I told 3 people until I was like, sure.
What kind of thoughts were going through your head?
Well, what am I going to do? Like, I was a waitress at the time. And of course, I was living with him, the dad, but still, we'd been together 3 months.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
yeah, I don't even think we had just hit 3 months when I found out I was pregnant. So technically, I got pregnant 2 months in.
Okay.
And then, so I'm like, I barely know this dude. Now we're late for 18 years. How am I going to take care of a baby? Babies are expensive. I was like, my waitress salary ain't paying for no freaking baby. And then it was just a lot of stuff going through my mind. And then I was like, I'm not married. My family's going to freak out. And then, which obviously was not the case, but when you find out, you don't know that. So I'm like, I'm 30, I'm an old lady. And I was like, what if Kevin decides he doesn't want anything to do with it and he leaves? I was like, well, then what am I going to, it's a lot of thoughts were going in my head. Basically, how am I going to take care of this entire human being that I've now created? Because it was never and this is, I'm all pro-choice, do what you want. Me personally, there was never an option of getting rid of him. Like, it was me personally, he was coming no matter what. So it was just a big of, what are you going to do? And then I had been drinking like the night before this happened. That's honestly, I didn't think I was pregnant because we had drank quite a bit, like a lot. And so I was convinced he was going to have fetal alcohol syndrome.
Oh
I'm like,
no.
he's going to come out. He's not going to have any legs. There's a lot of stuff that you worry about. I was like, I've already like messed him up. I didn't even know he existed. It was so until that first like sonogram where you see his body, and I'm like, okay, he's got 2 arms, he's got 2 legs. I freaked out about a bunch of stuff. And even then, I was freaking out about having all his fingers and toes until he came out the womb because they don't, yeah, I was panicking because I automatically thought if it's gonna go wrong, it's going wrong in my pregnancy. That's just how this is gonna work.
Oh,
But it didn't, and he came out. I mean, it was emergency C-section, but he came out great.
yeah.
So,
Can you talk a little bit about, and you don't have to, but share anything you don't want to, but um well, is it right to say that you think Cooper saved your life in a way?
very much so.
Yeah.
It's funny you guys that. Me and Danny were talking the other night actually about where we would be if we didn't have kids, which Danny's had kids for 14 years, but we mainly talk about where I would be. And it's before Cooper, I wasn't great. People in my family know this, but Heather was doing a lot of really, really stupid stuff, like really stupid stuff. And which a lot of that is you get depressed and then you get so sad, you're like, screw it, it's not gonna matter anyways. Having a kid definitely changes that. So like now you couldn't pay me to do anything dumb just because now he's my whole responsibility. Like you can't, he would, even not that I even want to, because that's another, like it changed you because you don't want to do stupid stuff. You want to hang out with your kid. Like it's more fun to me to go bowling with Cooper than it is to go out and drink or anything like that. It used to be, which drinking was never my problem, but it definitely helps and you just don't want to anymore. And I've gotten so sad and depressed even with Coop that I'm like, it'd be great if I could just not have to think about it for a second. And but even then you don't, it's not even an option for me. Like I'm gonna sit here and feel all of it because I created this person. It's my responsibility to take care of them. And plus, you just love them so much, you don't want to screw that up. Like I don't see all parents do that. You have babies and then go back to doing stupid crap. I couldn't imagine somebody taking my kid
Mm-hmm.
and then just you don't even know where he's at. I couldn't handle that. So Cooper is definitely the biggest lifesaver I've ever had. And my grandmother is dead set on God had a, if you believe in God, she's dead set that God sent him to me at the time that I needed him.
I think so too.
Yeah, it was definitely good timing. So, but no, he saved my life in a lot of ways.
And then now you have those moments where it's just so cool to see you guys together. You're such a great, 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 great mom. You're so
Oh, thank
wonderful.
you. Thank you very much.
And when he says I love you, mommy, it freaking melts me. I know it's
Oh
gotta
yeah.
just like cuddle you.
Oh yeah. Like he anytime he does it, I swear he could come up and slap me in the face and then tell me he loves me and I would still be okay with it because
Mhm.
it's the most amazing thing to hear. Like he every morning now he says good morning, and now he's gotten to where like if he wakes up before me, he'll poke me in the eye and he'll say good morning, mommy, and it's the best thing to ever wake up to. I'm not gonna lie, it's like it's freaking awesome. Just I don't it's and I can't even really explain it, and like I never got it until I had a kid. How moms were like, well, I can't even explain to you what it feels like. And I can't. Like I can tell you that it fills you with so much love, but it's not even, it's like it's literally like I thought moms were so full of crap, but they're not. Like it's a love that you don't know until you have a kid. Like I've loved a lot of people, but I would let all you guys die if it meant I was gonna save my kid. So I mean, it's a totally different feeling. So when he says that, it's like the best thing. It's the best thing ever to hear. It trumps anything I've ever had good in my life happen is to hear somebody call you mommy
Hmm.
or just to come up and hug you or tell you loves you for no reason. It's pretty nice.
Well, you deserve it. I I do know that it's a different kind of love though, because I love Alex, my boyfriend, but I've never No one's ever come over to our house and I've never been like, if someone breaks in, I'll let you die first. Like, I don't just say that to people. So
I know. As soon as I said it to you, I was thinking about Mama telling us all the time. She tells us how she would let us die to save Cooper, and I'm like, that would make me feel better. But I'm your actual kid. You're supposed to love me the way I love Cooper, and instead, she's like sacrificing me for him. Every scenario in Mama's head, she is sacrificing me for her grandson.
and
Every
then
single
letting you
one.
know about it.
Yeah, and telling me, not even, and it's not even like build up in conversation. We'll just not even be saying nothing. She'd be like, I'd let a bus hit you. I'd push you in front of a bus before I let something happen to Cooper.
You're like, okay, can we order now? Or
Yeah, like okay. What am I supposed to say to that? So apparently the parental love shuts down after you have a grandchild. Like it just totally transfers to this other person. They no longer love you like they used to when you were little. So apparently when Cooper has a baby, I'm going to be willing to sacrifice him every single day for my grandkid. I guess that's how that works.
Yeah, I guess you have that to look forward to.
So, yeah.
Was that, or is that difficult? Because Cooper's so young, the way that people are obsessed with your child. Like, do you get jealous? I don't know. Like,
No. I don't get jealous at all. I'm kind of like, which me, I don't like being the center of attention at all. I hate it. So I kind of love it when people are all about Cooper because it means I don't have to really interact with you as much because you're basically there to see Cooper. You're not really, and even then it's easier for me because all they want to talk about is Cooper and I can talk about that all day. I don't have to like give you any kind of insights from my mind. You're just wanting to hear about my kid and that's easy.
yeah.
So I prefer it. Plus it's just really nice knowing that so many people care about your kid.
Yeah.
So I'll take that any day because I have friends that they have no family. Like their kids that it's their parents is it. And their parents' friends, but there's no grandparents or aunts or uncles or anything. And that would really suck. So I'm kind of just love on him all you want. I do not get jealous. I like it. I like that people care that much. So I'm all for that.
Hell yeah.
And I'm all for anybody just not talking to me in general. So
yeah. Sure. Yeah, I feel that.
yeah, so that is definitely how our genes split in this family.
So Cooper is so freaking smart. Let's talk about that. Like,
oh God, I know.
insanely smart.
Yeah. So he's very smart. So like he knows how to read now. And of course he can read and he can write his letters and write his numbers. We're fixing to start working on math.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, because they won't let him start preschool early. So we still have to wait another year for preschool because his birthday falls too late. So and I think it's great, it's awesome that I can teach him all this stuff, but like he's super smart when it comes to book smart, but there's still challenges in that though. Like he can read a whole book, but I still have to basically brush his teeth because he just loses it every time. Like I have to hold his hands down with one hand and force his mouth open with a toothbrush.
Why?
He hates it. It's a fight every time. And like the potty training, it's a fight. We try to teach him how to play t-ball. He never hits the ball. He just wants to knock the tee over. Like I don't know what's going to happen with that. So like he's super, super book smart, but I think it plays out both ways with kids. Like he can't do all this other mundane stuff very well, but he can read a book. But then I have another friend, her kid can hit a t-ball halfway across my yard, but couldn't tell you what any of the letters in the alphabet are. So I think like everybody, which he is smart, and everybody's like, Cooper's so smart. He's just a little genius. He's so smart. But for me, yes, he's smart. I mean, I'll brag on my kid all day. He is smart. But I feel like a lot of moms take that as, well, my kid isn't as smart as your kid. Like, I know I have a friend like that. She constantly, her daughter's in preschool and is already like, but Cooper still knows more stuff than she does.
Mm.
And she constantly talks about how smart Cooper is, and she wish her daughter could be like that. But my thing is, she can actually hold a conversation down, which she is a little older than Cooper, but she can hold a conversation. She can get herself ready. She can. There's 1,000 things that she can do that my kid can't.
Right. Right.
So he's incredibly smart, but it does go both ways. Like, I think it's amazing that he can read a book. He doesn't let me read anymore.
Oh.
He reads to me, which is amazing. But if he could go brush his own teeth and get himself dressed before coming to read to me, I would think that's even more amazing.
Yeah.
So he's super, super smart. And that's because we have a lot of time on our hands. It's also because I'm a stay-at-home mom, so we don't have much else to do.
And you're also very smart.
Yeah. Well, I was very smart in school.
You are very smart, though. You are.
So, and his dad, like Kevin's really smart. So he comes by it honestly. I try not to say it as much because I think it is a very big problem for me today about mom shaming is just getting so ridiculous. So I try when I say, yeah, you're really smart, but so and so is really smart at different things. Like, I think all kids are smart. You're just smarter at different things than other people. Yeah. And that's why I'm not like, oh, my son's a genius. He's so free. Which, I mean, yeah, it is weird that a 2-year-old can read. I do understand that. So that's pretty awesome. But I try not to be like, my kid's freaking awesome and smarter than yours.
Yeah, right.
I try not to say that.
I think, like, with, our whole lives as humans, it's easy. There is the availability to compare ourselves to other people,
That's very true.
Like, someone is always going to be doing something better than you, always, So yes. I think that's a good mindset that you have, where you're grateful for Cooper's abilities, but also you're like, and there's things he can work on. I think that's a good place to be.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's my goal. I am like, my biggest thing, like, yeah, he's really smart, but my biggest thing with raising Cooper is, well, one, I want you to do good in life, but just to be a decent person. And that, that just in general, like, to be a decent person when nobody is there. Like,
yeah.
People all the time put their good deeds like on videos and stuff, and they're like, oh, look what I did today. And that's awesome. I'm glad that you videotape and it made you go do something nice. But I would like my kid to be the person that doesn't videotape it, that like is genuinely a nice person and doesn't need anybody to know it. Like, he just knows it himself. Where people are coming up and telling me, well, Cooper did this and it was so sweet. Like, I would prefer that and him work at a grocery store his whole life than him be a CEO of a company and just be a total just douchebag.
Yeah.
And that worries me because Kevin's a little bit more, his dad's a little bit more uppity than I am. Not uppity, but I don't want to say he looks down on people, but is very more, I'd say more judgmental, as if you're down on your luck, passes a lot more judgment to those people than I do personally. And that's not just his dad, that's a bunch of people I know, and I hate that. Like, that could, if you didn't have somebody to help you in your life, that could have been you any second.
Because you've been there, and that's why you know.
Yeah, that is a big part. Like, I've lived out in my car, and I've done it where it's just freaking hard and you don't know what you're going to eat the next day, which a lot of people don't know that because I don't advertise it. So to me, it's like, you have to be, everybody's all be kind. It's cool to be kind and all that stuff. But I want my son to actually do it, not just talk about it. And that's my main goal. And I wish that was the main goal of a bunch of moms. Like, that's part of the, like, like, I've been kind of going out on social media. Like, I've been trying to avoid it. And that's because it's nothing but women and mothers just making everybody feel like crap because, well, if you're not doing it my way, you're not doing it the right way. And I feel like there's not a right and wrong way. Just raise a decent human being. Like, who cares what you do while they're getting there, as long as the end result is they're a nice person. And I feel like that's more important than, can you recite the Pledge of Allegiance in French or something? I mean,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't see it that way. That's personally how I see it. So whenever people say he's smart, that's kind of why I'm like, well, that's awesome, but is he a nice person?
I love that, Heather.
So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I could be raising the next Jeffrey Dahmer. You never know. It's a toss up.
Well, serial killers are like super in right now. So
yeah, so that's just it. You never know what's gonna work. So we'll see. Check back with me in like 15 years. We'll see where we got with that.
You're gonna be like, whoops, sorry guys. Okay.
I'm gonna be sending you to visit your nephew in juvie. Sorry.
Is that Cooper?
It is.
Hi, Coopy.
He has no clothes on.
I see that haircut. Come
Can you
here.
see Aunt Bo?
Hey,
Can you see Aunt Bo? He says he don't want to.
Oh, well.
No, I don't want.
Okay. Well, I love that he has a sense of, making his own decisions.
Yeah. No, that's. Hey, Cooper. Cooper Jace, shut this door. Well, don't kill the cat. Okay.
He's like, nah. What is the most beautiful thing you find about Cooper at this age? His personality or things he does? What's something
I think the most beautiful thing to me is just whenever I notice that when he learns new stuff, and it's stuff that not even, which, I mean, as you've heard, we have a problem with the cussing.
Mm-hmm.
Like his tablet wouldn't work this morning and he was like, what the hell? And like rubbed that's me. That's 100% me. Kevin's a better parent when it comes to not cussing. So, but like, it's okay. Well, that's not beautiful, but it's funny.
It is funny.
He'll just new things like that. Like he's getting like no, I don't want to. Like he just started saying that 3 days ago. And it's nice just to know that he's learned new things. Like he learned what a thermometer was the other day, which seems really little, but I didn't teach him that. He had actually picked it up from the TV.
Whoa.
And he goes, do you want it? And so I guess the conversating, like the older he gets, the more we can have an actual conversation. I mean, not about any big stuff, but like yesterday we went to the park, and when we got back in the car, I was like, Coop, did you have fun at the park? And he's like, yeah, we went down the slide and we went in the go round, which is the merry-go-round. I don't know why he leaves the merry part out. He's like, but we went on the go round, and he was like, but I fell off. And it's just this exasperated story that he's telling me. And I'd say that's the most beautiful, awesome thing about it, is whenever your kids, like he's getting to the point where he can tell you what he's thinking. Like you're not guessing, he's telling me. And it's pretty nice because you love your kids, but you're pretty much, it's a guessing game for the longest. You don't really know what they're thinking. You're just guessing as a mother. And it's super nice that, you can understand him now, and he's talking to you and telling you what he wants, what he doesn't want, and stuff like that. And I think that's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's very cool. And I'm way more excited and that'll just keep going. Like the older he gets and the more articulated he gets and gets more hobbies and stuff, it'll be that I'm looking forward to that.
Definitely. What would you like him, now that this is Stanchion time, you got this forever, what would you like Cooper to know forever?
Oh gosh. Uh, just that, we tried our best. There's, I mean, there's no manual at all. And I don't know, that we love him no matter what, and that we literally did our best. That he watches this in 20 years and he's in therapy. I'm sorry. I did my best. I mean, because everybody worries about it. And like any mother who says that she doesn't is a liar. Like you worry about, well, is this going to jack him up? Is this going to be the moment where I've turned him into some creepy killer, or like a crazy person? Or is this going to be a moment that scars him for life? Like, I've slipped up. I've yelled at my kid
Mm-hmm.
and he starts crying. And then the immediate thing you feel is guilt. And I wish moms didn't feel that way, but you constantly, so I guess my thing is like, yeah, I guess that would be my main thing. To know that I tried my best with what I had.
Definitely. And I would just want to say that, therapy is one thing, but a good thing about therapy is growth. So even if he has to be in therapy, which I feel like everybody should, at least he's growing as a human, you know?
Yeah, that's very true. I could probably use therapy. I would just hope that he doesn't need therapy. He needs it for more like problems he's caused himself, not problems that I've caused. That's my goal. When you go to therapy, you're talking about your screw ups and not your mother's. That's my main goal in life.
Definitely. Well, I think that's an attainable goal. You're a great mom.
Thank you. I try. I could be better, but I guess everybody can.
Certainly. So the last question I have is, what would be your mama says advice, whether that's to kids, parents, whatever?
I guess mine would be to the mothers, and it's just to remember that you are still a person. It's a very big, I don't know why there's this mindset that once you become a mother, that's what you are. But lately I've been feeling that a lot. You feel like once you become a mother, that's your title now.
Mm.
But I think women forget that, I was Heather as a person a long, long time before I was Cooper's mother. And my biggest advice that I'm starting to discover myself is it is okay to take time to be yourself. It's okay to not spend to just want like a couple of hours where I'm Heather and not somebody's mother, where I'm doing something I want to do just because I want to do it, not because it's my kid wants it or my boyfriend or husband wants it or anything like that. And that's my biggest advice is don't feel guilty about wanting to hang out with yourself, because it's a lot of people do, I think. And I wish that wasn't the normal. I know, because mothers get burnt out because you forget you're a whole person. And it's not just mothers. I mean, spouses and boyfriends tend to forget that too. Like they'll just see you as you're my kid's mom and not as the person that I knew you before I knew this kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forget that. So my advice is just don't feel guilty about wanting to hang out with just yourself. You are allowed to do that. And it doesn't make you selfish or a bad mother. It's just, I personally think everybody needs it just to survive in general, for your mental health to survive.
That's such good advice, Heather. And I think that leaves a good example for your kids too, because they're going to grow up and have titles later and they need to know that, like, you got to spend time with you, baby.
Yeah, you really do. 100%. I started reading a book. Now I say that now this is farther than this book I've gotten.
Oh, okay.
Just like 3 pages. but
But that's something when you're a mom.
Yeah, well, it's the first book I used to read a book a day, and now that's the first book that I've opened since I got pregnant with Cooper.
Wow.
Not even had him since I got pregnant with him.
Wow.
So we're working on it, and that'd be my advice is for all moms to do that. I mean, don't go wild now, but don't be getting crazy. If you used to like to drink wine and watch freaking stupid, sappy love movies. Go somewhere and do it by yourself.
Yes. That's
So
great advice.
that would be my advice.
That's great advice. I know you are an amazing mom. You inspire me. You're smart. You're funny. You're beautiful. You are a light. And I'm so glad you are my sister. And I'm so grateful that you shared your story and your time and your thoughts because a lot of people are going to benefit from it. You're amazing.
Well, thank you very much.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
And I love Cooper, even though he doesn't want to talk to me today.
He loves you too. He don't want to talk to me 9 hours of the time, and he still loves me. So
Honestly, I really enjoy that mood where he's like, "No, I don't." I wish I could do that with people and it would just be fine, you know?
that is, yeah. Some of the grandparents and like cousins, they're not a big fan. Like they'll be like, "Oh, give me a kiss," and um, yeah. And I don't force it. I know a lot of parents that do force it. They'll be like, go give somebody a hug or go give somebody a kiss." I don't do that because I'm like, I wouldn't want somebody making me do that. I want somebody making me go kiss somebody I don't want to kiss or go hug somebody I don't want to hug. And I'm like, I can't make my kid do that. It's
No.
actually kind of creepy if you think about it. You're like forcing your kid to go touch somebody they don't want to touch. And I'm like, I don't like that. So thank
Speaking
you
of
for saying
needing
that.
therapy later, like that's something that
Yes. So thank you for noticing. It does make him seem like kind of an a-hole because he really doesn't want to do anything 99% of the time. He's just, no, I don't, all the time.
No, it doesn't make him seem like an asshole. The only feeling I get is sad, but that's on me, you know?
Because he's not jumping up to talk. But I mean, he doesn't, he loves my dad, but daddy will call and I'll be like, Pa says, hey. And he'd be like, no, I don't. And now he's gotten when he's done, he just does this and he'll put his head up like this. Like, and that's it. Like the conversation is over after that.
I can't wait for Cooper to watch this when he's older.
Yeah, I did that thing with the email address where you write letters and send videos and pictures to the email address and you give it to him when he turns 18.
Yeah.
And which I should probably give this to you. It's for the whole family to do it. So I could give the email address to you guys too.
Oh, please do.
So, but I've been sending like random stuff there. And that's, I took a video of doing it the other day.
Oh my God. That's amazing, Heather.
It is, but, and I think I put in the, but I know in the letter, I was like, just like, I'll talk about, well, you were like this. I was like, honestly, you were a little douchebag. And I was like, you would say no to everything. And I'm like, yeah, he's going to appreciate reading that when he's like 18, 19 years old. And I'm calling a 3-year-old a douchebag. That's it. I'm allowed to do it. Like if somebody else calls my kid a douchebag, I'm jacking you up.
Yeah.
But like I call my kid a little a-hole all the time because he is. Toddlers are effing mean. They're not little angels. They're not, the terrible twos is a freaking myth. That shit don't start till they're 3. And they're mean and ruthless.
They're smart about it too. Like somehow they're so smart about being mean.
Yeah.
Whip about it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they got good timing going.
Yeah.
Like there's no thinking about it. Like they know I don't want to mess with you. No. And then they get smart and they learn how to do it. Like I told Cooper he couldn't have an apple the other day. And he stacked like 10 things up to get on our counter to get one.
Wow.
And that's driving me crazy. But then they also learn like Cooper won't ask if Kevin's home, Cooper won't ask me for stuff anymore when he knows, like he'll ask me for a drink or food, but if he wants his tablet or cookies or anything dessert wise, he'll go ask Kevin because Kevin gives it to him when I'm not home.
Oh my gosh.
Like I went to the store the other day and I was like, don't give Cooper anything. He needs to eat his food. And I came back and it was just black everywhere. I was like, did daddy give you a cookie? And then both of them had cookies in their mouth and they're both like, no. And they're still eating them. And I'm like,
Denied.
I'm the only adult in this whole house right now. And it stresses me out. So
That's so
He is
funny.
getting very smart about that because he knows Kevin just says yes
Right,
all the
right.
time. Kevin just gives him what he wants because he's like, if I give you what you want, you ain't gonna cry.
Exactly.
And then I turn out being like, I'm Maleficent up in this freaking thing. It's awful.
Oh my God.
And I think Kevin likes it that way.
Yeah, it's easy to be the parent who's like, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's the total fun parent. It's totally gonna be like when he gets older, you wait till your mama comes home. Like there ain't gonna be you wait till your daddy comes home. Like he's gonna be terrified. Like he'll be doing something, I'll tell him to stop, he won't stop. I can take one step in his direction and he's on it. Like he's done because he knows I'm about to jack him up.
Yeah.
Kevin, no, there's nothing. He'll
Oh,
yell at him like Kevin got mad. Kevin got mad the other day because Cooper, the dogs, and the cat were all just running out in the field. And I was in the bathroom and Kevin kept yelling for all of them and nobody was coming back. Not a single one of them. And they're just running. Of course, that field is like a half mile long. But so they're just running out in the field and Kevin yells my name and he's like, will you please get your kid back up here? He's getting like, I keep screaming. They just keep looking at me. Nobody's turning around. I said, okay, freak, I'm coming. I came to the door, yelled one time, all of them. It was like a freaking stampede coming back up to the house.
doesn't
Because
that
if
feel good though? You're like there.
it does, because I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I'll be like, yeah, I'm a badass. And the cat comes when I call her. Like literally everybody comes when
And
I
the cat
call
doesn't
her.
even have a name, does she? Like,
She's got a name now, but it's
okay.
really she don't know it.
Yeah, that's a cat for you.
Yeah, no, she doesn't know it. But yeah, they all come exactly when I tell them to.
Because you're a
So
boss.
it's very much like I throw the hammer down, and that's why. Because Kevin's like, because after I did it, he went back inside. He's like, "Don't nobody listen to me up in this stupid bitch ass house. Nobody wants to listen to me talk." Like he was mad.
You're like, ooh.
He was like talking to the dogs. He was like, "You didn't hear me yelling your name. You didn't hear me yelling. I yelled your name." And I'm sitting here. I'm like, they ain't gonna talk back to you. They don't care.
They don't care.
Because they know there's no repercussions. They all know that if they don't come when I call, there's a repercussion.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all it is.
Exactly.
It's control out of fear. That's my other advice to mothers.
None of this counting stuff.
Yeah, this isn't a democracy. It's a
Mhm.
total dictatorship. And I rule like freaking Stalin up in this thing if it means you're gonna listen to me.
Yeah,
Like I'll take you down if you don't go by my rules.
exactly. Well,
Only
you're
way you
great
can
at it,
survive,
Heather.
man. Thanks.
What'd you say? You got a what?
Dictator. That's
You-
you can survive.
Sorry, you broke up. What'd you say again?
It's the only way you can survive.
Yeah.
Or not let your kids run around your house ruling it.
Staying sane.
Exactly. And find other mothers that don't judge you when you do it.
Exactly. Because they're out there. You're one of them.
Oh yeah. And like my best friend, she's one of them. So that definitely helped. When you find a mother that parents like you, it's definitely a help.
Yeah, and
So
Facebook it's all a lie, man. It's all a lie.
it is. Yeah, it really is. And that's why I tried to pull back off the social media because you end up comparing yourself to all these people, but they're literally only capturing the good part of their day.
Exactly. And
Their
throwing
entire
their
day was probably exactly like mine.
mm-hmm.
But they
Exactly.
call one good picture and now it looks like they're the freaking picturesque happy family.
Mm-hmm. And it's like a journal of everybody's thoughts and opinions that they can just freely share with the world. It's like it's a mess.
It is a mess.
Well, I would say to the listeners to look up my sister Heather and but don't do that because she doesn't like to talk to people. So
I have
leave her alone.
287 notifications on Facebook.
So if you want to be 288, you need some advice from my genius sister and great mom. Reach out to her, but she's not gonna answer. So
No, She's probably not. So,
Thank you, Heather, again for coming on. I love you so much.
yeah, I love you too. Thank you for having me.
1000%, always.